talk about marriage, idolizing marriage, taking it up on my own, start looking. And this season, it's just a couple of days I started changing my mindset. I say, God, I thank you for this season. It's rough, but there is a lesson for me to learn. And I thank God that I'm here among you beautiful people where we can share some sentiments, we could share what we've been going through and stuff like that. And so I'm grateful. Pray for me while I pray for you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay, my own is, you said some things and those things I've experienced. But I just want to ask so that, because at every point in time, how it happened to you is on a different level. And the way I see it right now, it looks like God, you say things, but I don't trust it anymore. At least for marriage. But for other things, sure. Because how do you feel when you hear that, okay, God said, gave you a name, and you're praying with a prayer partner, and the person said, this is what I see. And then you now sent pictures, 2 pictures, and the person said, oh no, the first one, this is not what I see. And then the second one, oh yes, this one, even in the dark, I can recognize. And that was the name. And then suddenly everything just went south. That it was now looking like you, and that's not the first time that you hear. I have things that God has said. I've written a lot. So right now, I'm even afraid to hear God. Like, I'm afraid to hear because I've heard enough. And it didn't look like it or something. So, or maybe you just finished praying and then something just showed up and like, this looks like answered prayer. But actually, like, maybe the devil that is bringing the stuff. So I would like to also use this example. I think there was a time I was actually going through so much then. So in the midst of, okay, I heard God about this person. This is a person I've never met, but we've been speaking on the phone. And it was okay, but again, there were some revelations I also got. But in this period, I now saw a dream. In that dream, it was like a tap, my house. And the tap, the bathroom was clean, very clean. Everything was sparkling. And then the knob, just for me to take a shower, the knob was not working. So water wasn't coming out, but it wasn't dirty. And then I'm like, okay, I'm impatient. Let me go to someone else's place to go and take a shower. On getting there, there's water running big time. The water was overflowing, but the toilet was bad. Very dirty. If you go back to Nigeria, all those village houses, Nigeria front floor, that even if you wash it, it will be clean, but those signs are still there. So I can't even hang my towel on the wall. It wasn't come, so I didn't bath. I had to leave. And then that day, got a call from a spiritual leader, and the person said, oh, I have somebody to introduce to you. And then, so in that, because immediately I woke up, I started praying, oh God, I'm sorry. Maybe I've doubted you. That's why you showed me this. Maybe I was impatient. And then I decided to go somewhere else. And then a man of God called, oh, somebody here, why this. And then they did a connection. But even at that, it didn't go through anywhere. It didn't go through because for me, it looks like I already got my answer, like I'm in a hurry. You understand? So in that instance, having heard God, you've seen things, in fact, you've seen plenty of revelations. And at the end of the day, it looks like nothing. So that you now come to a point that when it comes to marriage, you don't trust what you hear.
Thank you for this practical session. In short, I can't wait. The next time you want to organize this thing, I want to be here because I like the atmosphere, but it's so real. Judging from my experience in life, the most difficult time for a child of God is a time when you are under pressure to perform. And like I said, even as a pastor, I didn't believe whatever I was hearing again. Because the Bible says that the devil, our enemy devil, is moving to and fro. You know, if he goes like this, is he coming back? There could be a moment of weakness. He will take advantage of it. And devil will not quote out of the Bible. He will quote inside the Bible, but he will erroneously quote it. He will adjust something right in there. So, like I said, one of the toughest time I had was the pressure to hear, because I knew I could hear from God, but I didn't hear. How did I eventually hear what I had? It was from a Muslim that just spoke the Bible. But like the donkey that spoke in the Bible, he didn't know what he was saying. But at that time, the Lord said it. But what did God say? He was not answering my question. But he just brought peace. It was when that peace was restored that I began to hear clearly. Now, about spiritual fathers, prophets. In short, when you say you are a pro, I don't want to hear the faith. I don't want to hear it. And one of the things, obvious things I always tell people is that if you cannot be the prophet of a nation, manage to be the prophet of yourself. There was a day, very long time, I was still young. One of my friends called me that he saw 3 things about me. I was so angry. How can I have a father and he's sending somebody to me? I was so angry that day that, God, how can you do this? Do you know that same night I had 3 different dreams without waking up? And as I was going to camp that same time, Pastor Adeboye mentioned those 3 things to confirm it. So it's a lot for you to say you want to depend on somebody. Because the fact is even this. If it was a prophet that told Abraham, go and kill your child, that is what God wants. What do you think will have happened at the end of the day if he had to rely on the prophet that is eating in his house? Because God still spoke. So I understand this challenge. It's so real. It was one of my worries. It was one of the reasons why I questioned God. But I can tell you that your spirit can manipulate things for you. The devil can manipulate things for you. But one of the things I will ever tell people is that at this time, do not be desperate. Because at the end of the day, when God wanted to answer my prayer, he didn't answer my prayer. He just opened another door. How did that door come? A person that can call enemy. Because that person started the problem. Most of my friends already blocked him. But behold, he was the one that just called one day. Already, can you do this? He just gave me 2 options. And the whole story, the whole problem just mopped up. So when it will happen, the only thing is that probably 5 to 6 that you just brought now. Just make sure you align with God. And it's not as if you should close your eyes. That's not what I'm saying, no. I'm not saying you should close door to all fast. That's not what I'm saying. But if we are able to go into relationship, go with the mind of God. Go with the principle of God. So that when even if the breakfast comes, it won't break you because you don't have nothing to lose. Yes. Make sure your guiding principle is right inside the Bible. So look at Jesus now, because this time is terrible. When it comes to time, he says, God, can you take this thing away? This is the noise. This is the noise we're talking about. Even Jesus. So noise at this time is not negotiable. But the only thing is that let your patience turn to long suffering, expecting that today it will happen, but not desperate that it has to happen, because your life is not just about the rain. There are many other things. And also, if there are assignments that you have to do before that one will happen, it may delay. I don't know, maybe you have something to say.
I just want to chip in something quickly. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I had, in Nigeria, you have so much time in hand to do a lot of things. So my time I used for prayers. I could just wake up like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I don't get up from my bed till like 10 a.m. I'm just praying. I'm just worshiping. So during one of my prayers, I just heard a name of a person. I'm going to your question now. I had the name of somebody that we used to be in the same church together, like in the past. And I said, what do I need to do with this person? And it dropped in my spirit that is my life partner. I'm like, life partner. And for some reason, I didn't see that guy again. Till I left Nigeria, I did not see him. And I said, but God, how can it be that you would drop? I was thinking it was God who dropped it in my spirit, you know? So I said, how can it be that you dropped the name of this person in my spirit? So I held on to that name. I'm serious. I got to America. I was looking for this I wasn't like openly looking for him, but I was hoping that I will meet him at one of our functions, you know, like the convention. I used to go to conventions every year when I first came to America. So we had a program in that our church then had a program, like a 3-day program, and they invited a man of God from Texas to come. And my pastor then now asked that I should speak with the man, man of God, because I was like one of the matured singles at that time.
Guys.
Yeah, something like that. So my pastor now said, I want you to speak to this man of God. He will pray with you. And I said, okay. So I went to meet the man of God. We spoke one-on-one, and he said, okay. And I said, well, I'm ready for marriage, but there's no brother. But I remembered that when I was in Nigeria, while I was praying, a name of a brother dropped in my spirit, and it was someone I knew in the past. So the man of God now said, have you seen the person since then? I said, no, I haven't. It's been like years now. He said, and the person happens to be a member of the Redeemed. So he said, you are in America now. It's impossible for God to give you a husband who is in Nigeria if you didn't see him in Nigeria before coming. I said, okay. He said, so this is what I want you to do. He prayed with me, and he said, this is what I want you to do. So we have a convention coming up in I think at Chicago. He now said, this was 2001, I believe, 2001 or 2. He said, I want you to be on the lookout. If this brother is a redeemed person. At the time I knew him in Nigeria, it was a zonal coordinator for Freedom Hall, Apapa Parish back then. So he said, if he's still in the church, you should see him at this program. And if he's in America, he should be part of this program. So I said, okay. So as God will have it, I ran into this man of God at a convention, and he pulled me aside. Have you seen him? I said, no. He said, if you don't see him at this program, shut your mind on that name. He said, God is not an author of confusion. So don't get confused, but forget this person. Allow God to lead you. So this is where I'm going with that. When at the time I met my own husband, okay, of course, my sister spoke about 6-pack. Pastor spoke about 6-pack. Pastor spoke about 6-pack, tall and everything. And of course, in my mind, that's the vision of the man I was like. My husband has to be this, has to be like, because back then I'm always attracted to tall people all of my life. Tall men. So I knew that my husband definitely I'm a child of God now, Abba. It has to be. And then of course, in America here, I met this tall man, everything, a Christian, bro. My sister, let me tell you, when I came to America, I came to her. So everything I say, she knows. This was the person who brought me from Nigeria. She was the one who did green card for me, that I won, that I came. And it was her that I came to. So I lived with her. So all this thing I'm saying, she knows. So when this brother, she was there, I was like, okay, who is, I said, well, we just met. We met. He said, okay. And of course, this brother was so nice. he would bring, every time he's coming, he will always bring something.
Write notes from someone.
Oh my God. He would send me notes, beautiful Bible notes, not worldly or biblical stuff. Very Christianly. This guy will come. Whenever he's coming, he will bring flowers or food or whatever. I'm telling you. This guy took, the first time he was going to take me out, he took me to Manhattan. He said, we have to go. He wants to buy me shoes. I said, He wants to buy me shoes. I said, shoes. No, we went to, he took me to dinner or something, or lunch or early something. And then he said, I have to buy you stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want anything, I'm good. He said, no, how can I take you out? And I cannot. This brother took me to very expensive store, village, white people neighborhood. He bought me a pair of slippers for $300 back then. Yes. I said, because when I got into that store, I just went straight for that. I said, oh my God, this is pretty. He said, you're having it. I said, no, I'm just admiring. He said, no, you have it. Anyway, long story short, this brother, because my own is, when you tell me about courtship, I take you to God and I take you to my pastor. So I introduced the brother to my pastor, and of course, pastor spoke with him and everything. And of course, we were doing this courtship, the Bible way. And for whatever reason, everything just went blank. I was like, exactly, south. I was like, what? And me, I didn't even bother myself. But I wanted to know what happened. He just couldn't give me a reason. First of all, I was not going to visit you at home. I was not going to, we always went to like a public place and everything. So anyway, that was how that relationship ended. And it kind of bothered me. I wanted to know what happened. Because I was doing my own, how I'm supposed to. But maybe brother was expecting more. I later found out that even brothers in America, they always want more than the hair. But because I was not going to give myself like that. So brother now saw that this one is too spirit, so the brother left. So now, when I now saw my husband, I was like, no, this cannot be from God.
What's your back,
This is the voice that we hear. When God is speaking, He doesn't come the way you want to hear it.
That's true.
I'm telling you, it comes that still small voice. And most of the time, we're too busy to hear it. We're concerned with so many things that we don't hear when God says, that's the person for you. When my husband came up to, my nephew, my sister's son, we were just teaching in Yoruba. We said, when you see Nigerians, don't say hi. Say, Ekalesa, Ekarosa, Ekasansa. He saw my husband was the first person he was going to practice Yoruba language on. In the elevator. I'm telling you. When he saw my husband, and it was in the evening, he said, Ekarosha. Again. He said, Ekarosha. So that one, my husband now looked at him and said, he now started playing with him. Is this your son? I said, no, it's my nephew. And like Pastor said, that people watch you and watch what you do. I was not the friendly type before I got married. And my reasons, I had my reasons for that because I knew I've had experiences in the past. We'll come to that later. So I didn't want to give my husband too much, like, it's my nephew. And then we just went out of the elevator and left. That was the first time I saw him. And then, it was elevator going out of the building. He held the door for us. And Emmanuel is my nephew. He now prostrated and said, good morning, Ekarosa. And after then, my husband would see me and say, oh, hi. And he started, after a while, he started calling me my wife. I said, what is wrong with this one, my wife? I said, I won't even, I would just walk past him. It doesn't matter what he was doing. He would say, wait, let me say hello to my wife first. No, I'll be coming back from church. You will see that it's just. I said, let me talk to my wife. I will just walk past and be going. And the people who stand will be like, what is wrong with this man? Why is this woman treating you like this? And yeah. Anyway, it was somebody else who saw it and said, Sister Mike, who is this man? He saw my husband's picture at one of our functions, like a function like this. I just said, this man that is disturbing me, let me just invite him. And that was how he saw my house fellowship coordinator at that time saw his picture, said, who is this man? I said, I don't know who is he, but I was the one that invited him. I said, because he was always disturbing me. So I invited him to push him away, because I thought he wouldn't come. It's a church thing, and he has to pay too. They had to pay at the time for the program. It was $60 at the time. I said, let me tell him, maybe he will just leave me. And this man came, he bought the ticket too. Yes, so not only, he even bought my own ticket.
Wow.
So again, it might not be what you expect. I think I spoke with you about it. You have to allow God. Because if we think, I already have the perfect picture, I'm telling you, you'll be disappointed. You'll be highly disappointed. But honestly, my husband, when I now went to my pastor about my husband now, because he just was bothering my husband was like, Sister Nike, how far are you seeing someone? I said, there's this man. Tell him to come. The only people I will take to my pastor are people that I'm also interested in. Not exactly. But my husband, I was not interested in him until my pastor said, bring him. So I took him. And, pastor prayed. And my husband, he is very bold. That man, I'm telling you, he's very bold. So when I saw that, I was like, this man. Wow. So again, going back to your question, you might hear, but it will not be loud. I'm telling you, it will not be loud. Amen.
Amen. Right. Thank you so much, Deaconess Nika. That was really good. I know we're gonna get more when we get to that session. We are at time now, and we have a small break, 15 minutes break. Please feel free to get some things to eat. We have some snacks, we have drinks, we have water. If you did not sign in when you came in, please register at the front over there. Use this moment to, network, talk to people. I know the conversation, the discussions that Deaconess Nika was having was so interesting. And I think someone had mentioned, I think there was a question someone had, but we have a section where we talk about challenges and experiences. So I think that would be a good moment to delve deeper into that. So let's just go on our break now. You still have your bingo sheets. You can use that as prompt to talk to new people, especially for those that just walked in. Right, thanks.
Thank you.